says, well, we're not hiring at the moment. And I was
Devastated.
you don't think about that when you're 16.
No,
you know,
man.
maybe
Man,
they're
hold
not
that
hiring.
thought, hold that thought, Mark. I want to let people know what we're getting involved in today. So I'm hanging out here with, of course, Fred Grunwald. You know him, you love him, and Mark McCarthy. Now, we are at McCarthy's Wild Animal Sanctuary here, Wildlife Sanctuary, and I gotta tell you, it's been a long time for us two to meet. You know, we run in the same circles. We don't live too terribly far apart, but today you're in for a treat because we're going to hear a lot of great stories from Mark. We were just listening to how he hitchhiked from Michigan all the way to the Miami Serpentarium with a backpack full of rattlesnakes that he collected in Arizona because his mom wouldn't let him keep them there. Right. So there's more pearls of wisdom and stories to unfold. So let's just get right into it, man. Let's walk and see what you've built over a lifetime of dedicating yourself to animals. Our animal mission is simple: education in action, conservation in action. This is Kamp Kenan.
The original piece was an acre.
And what are you on now?
Now I'm on 8 acres.
That's amazing.
I kept buying up all the properties around me that would come up for sale. And so here we are.
Okay. Oh, look at this. We got.
Anyways,
some deer.
yeah, we do. We're a different type of place. We have a lot of exotics. We got a lot of native. These are some deer that we got in from rehab. So these are native animals that come in injured. We rehabilitate them and then release them back to the wild. Some of them can't go back to the wild.
Okay.
So it just depends. Like hawks and owls, we got to get special purpose permits from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And then you got to run by their guidelines. Because sometimes you don't want to put something down, but if it can't go back to the wild,
it's unfortunately
we're supposed to put it down unless we can use it for educational purposes.
Gotcha.
But anyways, we got some white-tailed deer here. These are 2 bucks that we have here. They just dropped their horns a few weeks ago, and now the horns are coming back in.
Is this a normal coloration for a whitetail?
Well, this is what they call a piebald.
Okay.
It is found, but it's not very common.
Okay.
I've had some hunters come here and tell me that they've seen it and stuff like that. So, but I was shocked when we got this animal. She originally came with had four broken ankles, and they all healed up, and so now he's here.
Gotcha. Wow, that's cool. I actually didn't even know that you guys do rehabilitation of wildlife.
Yeah, we do a lot of wildlife rehabilitation.
That's really cool.
You know, I try to stick with the carnivores, which would be the raptors and stuff, but we pretty much taken anything except for maybe raccoons and stuff like that nature.
And you got your start. You were telling me a story that you hitchhiked all the way down to the Serpentarium. They weren't hiring, but did you ever wind up working there at that point?
Yes, I did. What happened was I got to the Serp. I got to speak with Bill Haas. He was doing like the interview, and I filled out that application, and then he just said to me, well, sorry, we're not hiring right at the moment. And you know, I was just hitchhiked 3 days to get there. I was out of money, and I thought, oh my God. And so when he got up from his desk, my backpack was leaning up against his desk.
Oh no.
And I had my rattlesnakes in there, and it was moving. And he kind of goes, what do you got in that backpack? I go, I got my snake collection in that backpack. And he says, why would you bring your snake collection to a job interview? I says, well, I'm coming all the way from Michigan. And he goes, Michigan? So now he picks up the application. He's actually kind of, reading
a little
it,
interested,
looking at it.
dedication.
And then he goes, how did you get here? I says, well, I hitchhiked. He just took a step back, and he goes, wait a minute, you hitchhiked all the way from Michigan with a backpack full of rattlesnakes to come work for me. I said, yes.
That's motivation, man.
Did he hire you on the spot or
He
what?
hired me on the spot.
That's cool, man. Now, we're not saying you guys, it was a different era, by the way. It was a different era. But that is really cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, so many times, and you being, you own this nonprofit business, it's so hard to find people that are dedicated and trustworthy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he must have saw something in you.
I got paid $1.60 an hour.
Okay.
I slept outside on the Cutler Ridge Mall bus bench for probably a good month or so, and finally got like a kind of a rat-infested apartment.
Yeah.
But anyways,
it all worked out
was
for
there.
you.
It worked out great for me, and then ever since that time, I have always been in the animal business.
Gotcha. So many of the people that follow our channel are always asking me, Kenan, how do I get involved in a career with animals? It's probably the #1 most asked thing, and I always just say, you know what? It's literally about getting a base of knowledge and then going and just, man, there are local wildlife sanctuaries that need help. There are plenty of opportunities that you may not be getting paid, but it shouldn't really be about that at first. It's got to be about the love.
Yeah, if you want to get into it and you're really into it, you're going to find a way to get into it.
Right.
And it's not going to be easy. You know, I don't know any wealthy zookeepers, you know, but you know, some people do very well in the business. All depends on which way they're going.
I mean, this is incredible. And guys, just walking around here, I mean, to be perfectly honest, you know what I'm building at my house. You know, basically I'm doing something akin to what you do, but for reptiles. I tend to think that if you're good at something, I want to be highly focused on something I know I can succeed at.
Right.
And keep it manageable.
Right.
So many guys will start to get involved in animals and they start, oh, I want this, I can get this, I can get that. I think that leads to problems down the road.
Yeah.
You know?
It takes time.
Yes.
For handling animals and getting to know the animals, but you know, to get all too lovey-dovey with them, and you get this, a lot of people are very good at it, but sometimes, you know, they get a false sense of what's going on.
Yeah.
And here's a couple of Toto toucans.
Hey, how you doing?
And this is Kara.
Hi, Kara.
Kara Carrera. She's leaving. She's been here 7 years.
Oh, really? Where are you going?
Moving to Miami.
Oh, well, congratulations on the move, man. That's cool. So these are beautiful birds. Now, these birds came in as rescues, or how did this happen?
These came here on breeding loans. So a lot of some of these exotic birds come here on loan.
Very cool.
Just that we have a better climate for it.
Makes
than
sense.
their original place they were coming from up north.
Do you do work with some zoological institutions? Sometimes what will happen is with certain animals, like you said, from up north in you know, zoological parks, they may breed them. They look for other ways to kind of get them out into the
there's
private sectors. Like I do a lot of work with chelonians, with turtles and tortoises. Do you do a similar thing with, you know, like you said, the birds and obviously not cats?
I get a lot of stuff from different organizations. You know, some are AZA,
okay,
and some are ZAA. So you got two of those different types, and some of them send me their cats on breeding loan. So it takes a lot of time. It's a lot of time. Yeah, it's a lot of time and trust that you have to build up with these organizations as well. Right. Yeah. I mean, these are guys going back. You know, Ron McGill from Miami Metros.
Yep.
I mean, I've known him for 30, 40 years.
Oh my gosh,
40 years at least.
These are all guys that I grew up admiring. Just so you guys know, Ron McGill, Bill Haas, Mr. McCarthy here, and of course, the one and only Fred Grunwald. And I should mention, this is Annette, and this is Mark's wife, and Annette is very hands-on with the animals as well. How is it like being married to a gentleman who shares your passion? I would assume you love animals.
Yes, I do.
Yeah? All right.
Yes.
There you go, man. Annette.
She is the mother of all mothers. This woman can raise anything.
That's awesome.
Tell the story of how you met Annette.
Yeah, that's another story.
We love stories here. Now, who are we looking at here? We're missing the beauty.
This is Cinco. Cinco is 3 years old. He's a male. He's a beautiful animal.
Yeah, he is. My gosh.
And so we have a female over on the other side that we're going to introduce to him later on, but she's not quite old enough yet.
And I don't know much about big cats. Is it a leopard?
No, jaguar.
It's a jaguar.
I'm sorry,
okay. Yeah. How would one know the difference between a leopard and jaguar? Is it the rosettes are different?
Well, yeah, the rosettes are different. Where the jaguar or the leopards are more spotted, these have more like little rosettes that you can see. And the jaguar is a much larger cat than a leopard, far larger. They have a much broader head, and they also have a shorter tail than a leopard would have.
Okay, cool.
They like water.
I was just going to say, there's some great video out there on the internet of these guys actually catching caiman.
Yeah.
Swimming out, catching caiman.
Dragging them back.
Yeah, like that is no joke, man. Yeah, and they love me. They don't like people with hats for some reason.
They don't like people with hats.
It's really weird, man. They always do that hiss. It's all right, buddy. But that is an amazing animal, man. I always think of, powerful. That's a powerful animal. But the enclosures are beautiful, man. God, I love coming around to see how other people do their enclosures, because I love, honestly getting ideas and just seeing. I know how much work goes into this stuff, it's like, God, but I just wanted to
I got some rhino boas in here.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, look at this. Guys, check out this enclosure, man. This is awesome, okay? So this is a beautiful enclosure. They love this cap rock and
I put cap rock on. I was originally going to do this for Aldabra tortoises.
Okay.
But then some friend of mine told me, hey, you don't want to put Aldabras in there because it's going to tear up their shells on the
Yeah, that's
on the
what
rocks.
I hear. Yeah, you know.
So I said, okay, I'm just going to switch it, you know, for the rhino iguanas. So we got a pair of rhino, or 2 male rhino iguanas in here, and a few cherry-headed tortoises in here. And this is a major project. I mean, as far as just getting the rocks in place.
Yep.
And the money to these cap rocks aren't cheap.
No, they aren't. I'm like a fiend with rock. If I can find a good deal with rock, man,
That's what I'm
a lunatic. But yeah, so these guys, I've always tried to do large open air exhibits. I may bug you for the source of this because this is interesting because you know, guys, if you come look at this, you would think that the rhinos could kind of rip through this, but this is tough stuff.
Yeah, this is very strong.
Did you do anything underneath to keep them from digging down?
Well, what we have here is you can see how the netting came down here, and then we poured a footing and then attached the netting to the footing, and the footing goes down about 2 feet.
Oh yeah, that'll
So it's pretty far down there.
pretty good. Yeah, that's.
And I have footings pretty much on all my tortoise pens and stuff. A few of them no, but
wow,
for the big
beautiful rhinos.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to have you on the day off. You're gonna have to come see my place, man.
will.
We're gonna have you up there.
Here's some red ruff lemurs here.
Wow.
These guys are pretty good.
Wow, that's awesome.
And these guys are all from Madagascar. How you doing?
So it's kind of neat. You can just tell. You could tell he loves his job because I think he'd prefer to sit in there for a couple hours. You know, it's nice. It's cool.
Plus I got a bad back now from handling tigers all these years.
Oh man.
I gotta sit down.
All right, we'll let you rest and then we'll pick up when you're ready to get on out of there.
One more. Tastes better than that cocoa plum.
This is awesome, man. Just a beautiful, well-kept facility, which is kind of, you guys know, what I'm crazy about, man. So this is definitely a place where you're gonna want to come visit if you're in South Florida. They are only open by appointment, so you gotta call, get an appointment, and then they bring you on a guided tour to see all the animals. But my goodness, I think these are leopards? Hey Mark, these are leopards?
Yes, these are black leopards.
All right, see, I mean, I'm learning a ton here today. I mean, I knew they came in the black variety, but you can just make out. Now, is this a naturally occurring
Yes.
morph, I guess would be the term?
Most of the black leopards that I've seen come out of Asia.
Okay.
There are a few in Africa, but mostly you see them in Asia. The one in the back is the male, and this one up front is the female.
So what is your take on big cats? And, you know, just sometimes there are people that get them, like you'll get rescues of these animals, won't you?
Yeah, a lot of times you'll get people that get big cats and then they give them up for one reason or another. As far as people getting them and keeping them as like personal pets, you know, it really just depends upon the individual and how much space and time they can give the animal and all that. Because there are some people out there, such as myself, that are really good with the cats, you know. But what a lot of newbies don't realize is this cat will be nice and sweet when you're bottle feeding it and everything else, and then when it becomes of age, when it's sexually mature, this is when you start having problems with them sometimes, especially the males.
Gotcha.
But if you're someone that handles it constantly, they usually stay pretty good for you. But then again, it's like teenagers. You know, you got this beautiful kid, you turn 16, and next thing you know, you're like, holy crap, what happened?
Yeah,
So, it's just part of life, you know.
Yeah.
So, and
Well, in the
instead
case of teenagers,
smarting off to you,
they'll eat you.
they'll bite you right in the back of the neck.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse, teenage girl or a leopard. I don't know. So this area is off exhibit?
Yeah, this is about 3 acres of property.
Okay.
Is not on exhibit.
Oh wow, so we are not even seeing something that if the public wanted to book a tour, they don't actually
They
come
don't
back
come
here.
over on this side.
All right, so we're midway through the tour and we haven't even actually seen what you would see if you come and visit the sanctuary
Yeah.
here. We got a real cool behind the scenes, but now we're gonna show you just what a tour would go through.
Exactly.
So, who is this?
Sammy, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on here. This is Slammer. Slammer I've had for several years now, but several years ago, actually when I first kind of met Annette, first got here to the U.S., I got a call in the middle of the night from Lieutenant Rick Brown. He's the Fish and Wildlife Officer up in the Orlando district.
I actually know, yeah.
And he said to me, he says, Mark, I got a real problem on my hands. And this is 2 o'clock in the morning. Right? And I says, what is it? He says, well, I just seized a tiger and a cougar out of a Motel 6 up here in Orlando. And he said, I got nowhere to put them. You know, I says, I'm on my way. So what happened was there was a guy that came down from Minnesota with a tiger and a cougar cub. He was doing little wildlife shows right out of his minivan right up there on Intercontinental Drive, right in the heart of
Just
Disney
there.
and all that up in Orlando. Yeah. So somebody saw him, called Fish and Wildlife. Fish and Wildlife sent a guy over undercover to see what was up. And at the time he was just using a little cougar cub about this big, maybe. So they followed him back to the hotel room, got warrants, came back, and busted the guy. And that's when they found the tiger also.
Definitely a Florida story.
Yeah, so the guy got arrested, thrown in jail, and it was a real drama thing because he wanted his animals back and it wasn't going to happen. So I ended up naming this guy Slammer because the guy got thrown in the slammer. And we named the cougar Repo because, well, his cat's got repossessed.
Wild. So then you had to then throw together an enclosure.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's the thing, guys. When you take on these animals, it's like go time. It's so much work to be able to house
Yes.
an animal like this, and then
it's
funds.
a lot of money
Yes.
involved,
Yes.
you know. And I didn't always have a lot of money, but you know, after years and then going nonprofit, I started getting backers and funders, and so now it's
That's really
going
cool.
pretty
'Cause
well.
I mean, people wouldn't understand that to erect an enclosure like this. I mean, eyeballing it up, I'm thinking you're spending about $5,000 at the minimum for something
probably
like
at
this.
the minimum, more like 10 or
Yeah.
so with labor and all that involved.
There you go. That's right. I usually am the one with the hammer and nail, or I wrangle Tom in to make him do something. It doesn't go fast. So just to give you guys an idea of why these places are necessary, is because of stories like Slammer right here.
We got another one over here with these lions.
Yeah, lions. Oh wow, look at this. I mean, that's a huge enclosure for them, man.
Yes, this is another one of my big ones. This one's going to rebuild pretty soon. Anyways, these are a couple of lions I got.
Wow.
Awesome. Awesome.
Oh my God, he's gorgeous.
Awesome I got is a cub. And one day I got a phone call. I get phone calls from all kinds of nut jobs and weirdos and good people too.
Yeah.
And this lady's on the phone. She's screaming, I just fed my baby the formula that I feed my lion. This is the first thing I hear from her on the phone. I says, what? And she repeated it. She said, I fed the formula that I feed to my lion to my baby.
Oh, man.
I said, like, I don't know why you're calling me. You better call a pediatrician because I have no idea what you're feeding this lion. So anyways, I says, what are you doing with this lion? And she says, well, I'm going to raise it up as a pet.
Trouble all
I
over.
said, lady, it's not a good idea. That lion's going to kill your kid in a couple of years, you know. I go, then when you have to want to kill you, to kill you. Just, you know, playing with you, they can kill you. So I didn't hear from her for about 3 months. Then she called me back and just said the lion was just out of control, tearing up her house.
Go figure.
She's trying to keep it in the bathroom, you know.
Oh my God.
So she asked me if I'd buy it. I said, no, I won't buy it. I says, but if you send it to me, I'll pay the freight on it. And that's how we ended up with Oslin.
Wow, that's crazy.
Okay, so this is a rehab flight. This is required by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service if you're rehabilitating hawks, owls, eagles, you know, mostly birds of prey. So when a bird comes in injured, the first thing we do is examine it, see if the bird has a possibility of going back to the wild.
Okay.
If they do, then we heal up their injuries, and once their injuries get healed, they go on these little side compartment flights. And then we put them in this big flight. And this flight,
It's exercise. Oh,
yes,
wow.
this is for the birds. Right now we got a couple of red tails in here. So when you get them in this flight, this is to make sure that their injuries have healed properly. Years ago when I used to let stuff go, you'd let something go and you know, the wing would only get up like halfway on one side, you know, and the bird would have trouble. So Fish and Wildlife decided they want to make sure you know that this bird can go back to the wild.
Very cool.
So we got 2 red tails in here.
And what is the story on them? They came in just
One
typical injuries or
one
shots?
came in with a gunshot wound to
Yeah.
the wing. And the other one came in, it was electrocuted.
Really?
Yeah, when I first got him, everybody was like, oh, you got to put this bird down. I mean, he couldn't do anything. And what I did is I kept, because he didn't have any foot control, I just kept massaging his feet and massaging his feet. And he slowly turned back. So
Wild.
If we kind of walk this way, you'll watch them, they'll fly this way most likely.
Which is good because you want them to stay wild.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want them to really become.
And this is
too
where you
accustomed
start
to-
throwing in live food.
Okay.
Like rats and stuff, and then you watch them fly down.
So each animal that can't go back to the wild, do you have to get a permit for that specific animal?
Yes.
That's a
every
lot of
time.
work.
Yeah, and you know how paperwork is. with
Yes, it's
the government.
my least favorite part of the business.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you know they want it in 30 days, but they'll take 6 months to reply.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, every bird, if I want to, when I want to put this one on an education program, I have to apply again and have a veterinarian letter stating at the end of the
Mark's facility is amazing, and believe it or not, there is still much more to see at McCarthy's Wildlife Sanctuary, including their incredible reptile room, which we toured, and we'll bring you all tomorrow on the Kamp Kenan Army channel. So go ahead and subscribe to that channel now to stay on top of everything we have going on here at Kamp Kenan. As always, thanks so much for watching, animal lovers. We'll see you soon.
This guy goes way back to about 78.
No way.
Yes. And I get this call from this lady, drunk as a skunk. I got a Gila monster.